Welcome back. And with me is Timo, the co-founder and CEO of Swarm. Welcome.
Thank you, Jane. Very good to be here.
So tell me about Swarm. What is it?
So Swarm is a blockchain solution for co-ownership of high-value assets. So basically it allows people to co-invest or co-own something like a property or a hedge fund position or a pool of shares in a private company.
Okay, so let's go back to the basics. So is Swarm like an app? Is it a website? How can I become a member or subscriber of Swarm?
Yeah, it's actually what you see is a website, but underlying is like a whole network which is based on a blockchain technology. So it's a global network that's operated by today 150 nodes that basically maintain the network and keep it operating. But then when you want to use it, you basically go to invest.swarm.fund, and that's where you see everything you need to get involved.
Invest.swarm.fund.
Invest.swarm.
And I can go there and I could say, I would like to buy some property, and then I can invest in a portion of a property.
Correct.
At that point. Okay. What are all the different assets that I could invest in on Swarm?
So there's a wide array now. I mean, we have anything from the latest one that's quite interesting is an arts fund. Oh. So it's basically a professional arts investment company in Germany and Switzerland that's tokenized their portfolio of art. So far, I think they have raised about $5.5 million for that arts portfolio, where part of it is just kind of made liquid for co-ownership with others so that they can buy into that portfolio, and part of it is just raising money to buy more art.
To buy more art, okay.
Yeah.
So what inspired you to start Swarm?
So I was in financial technology as an investor before, and I just saw that, you know, when the Internet of Value was coming along and I saw this infrastructure being built globally, I just thought it was like the most interesting place to be, just from a market point of view and opportunity point of view.
A lot of growth ahead, you think?
A lot of growth and a lot of opportunity, because it's like one of these technologies that can shift the market condition, basically shift the preconditions for any market participants. I thought that was really interesting. So Philip and I, with private equity and venture background, we just saw that starting out with tokenizing private equity funds and real estate funds and things like that would be a good place to start.
Now we know what's happened with cryptocurrencies in 2018, so it's been a horrific year. How has that impacted Swarm? I know you're blockchain mainly, but has that downturn impacted you at all?
Well, in a very good way, I would say. So, when I look at this market and where it's now, and I was kind of there in the dot-com days as well, and there's a lot of parallels that you can draw to the dot-com days and what happened with the crypto bubble, let's say last year. So, with 2018 being basically a down market all the way through the whole year, we've basically been able to reverse that, in the sense that because Swarm is working with security tokens, which is the kind of the aspect of the market that's up and coming. So where, cryptocurrencies from last year were very speculative, people were trying to make money very quickly, in a short period of time, whereas security tokens or asset-backed tokens, which is what Swarm is working with, is something that people see as a kind of a long-term future potential.
Okay.
So we basically went against the market and came out very strong now towards the end of the year.
So it's kind of cleaned out a lot of the bad players, and now the strong companies are left. There seems to be more regulation.
Yeah.
And
a year ago when we started Swarm and we launched it, a lot of people weren't very interested because we were only talking about like regulatory compliant security tokens, and everybody else wanted to buy speculative tokens. So, I think we're in a very good place in the market right now.
Okay. And then now blockchain is extremely difficult technical computer coding. How do you make that easier for people to navigate?
Yeah, it's one of those analogies to the dot-com days where some of the early applications on the internet were really hard to use, and then over the years things developed and they became like very accessible and easy to use. Same thing here again in the blockchain space, where you need to be very technical. For example, if you want to hold, let's say, $100,000 in Bitcoin, not a lot of people know how to do that. Now there are really good applications such as Coinbase that make that easy for people to do, but across the board I would say it's still quite technical to get involved. So what we're doing specifically is two things, I would say. One is to bring in a bridge from traditional currencies, i.e. USD and Euro, and other traditional fiat currencies, as we call them, into the crypto space. So we made it very easy for people to just deposit money into a bank account, traditional wire transfer, and then have that show up as cryptocurrency in their Swarm wallets. So that's one thing. And the second thing is we built an Android mobile application to make these use cases as simple as possible. So just, so that people can do it in the same way as they do all their other things on their mobile.
Right, have a comfort level.
Exactly, and just kind of, recognize the use cases and the way that you buy into different assets. It's very similar to the way you buy into stocks or, and if you transfer money, then you transfer money in the same way that you would do in your normal kind of banking infrastructure.
Now, there are other companies in this similar space. How do you differentiate yourselves from them?
Well, so we kind of looked at the market and said, this needs to be global infrastructure. So most of the other companies that went after security tokens, they've created more like an investment bank type structure where they have basically, let's call it service fees to create security tokens for somebody that wants to issue them. And we just kind of reversed that model and say, let's focus on the network instead and build a compliant network that people can use globally. And make it very efficient and cheap to create security tokens. So we don't want to maximize fees on our side, but actually create the infrastructure that allows other companies to create, services on top of Swarm.
I see. And then, so tell me, what are your goals for, say, 1 to 3 years for Swarm?
Yeah, I mean, now immediately, it's about adoption, right? It's actually to get people to understand how to use these kind of services. And I think the fiat currency bridge or the US dollar bridge and the euro bridge are a big part of that. Because one big hurdle has been for people to not to know how to hold large amounts of Bitcoin, for example. Yeah. People get very uncomfortable when they don't understand the underlying security architecture.
Sure, yeah,
or like
you're dealing with your money.
Yeah, these are high value assets, and people hear about hacks and things like that, so they want to know that their assets are protected and they're being held in a secure place.
So how can you assure me that if I want to invest in Swarm, that my money will be safe?
Well, we're working with custodian partners. That are basically licensed custodians. So it's really the best type of infrastructure that you can have for the purpose of holding cryptocurrency. So we're expanding the partner network, and by doing that, we're making it easier for people to basically engage with what Swarm is doing and into this kind of transformational shift.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Timo.
Thank you, Jane.
Best of luck. And thank you as well for joining us. We'll be right back.